How to format your text as a script in Google Docs. Your script will have at least 3 different parts. One is called the scene header. It's in all caps, flush left here. Um, Another is called action. Anything that happens on the screen that's not dialogue is action, where the writer describes what's happening on the screen. And finally, we have dialogue, which is centered on the page, and justified, meaning it's both flush left and flush right and distributed evenly across the line. In a section of the page that's about half the width of the page and more or less centered. The name of the character each piece of dialogue belongs to is over that and centered. So that's more or less all you need to know about formatting. So we want our script to end up looking something like this, but if you just open Google Docs and start typing, you're going to get something that looks like this, with a default font that normally is something like Arial, and we have a left-hand margin of 1 inch, a right-hand margin of 1 inch. So when you've got your text ready to go in Google Docs, the first thing I want you to do is to take a look at changing the page margins. So let's zoom in here. The page margin is not the same as this little blue caret here. It's actually right behind it, and you can see when the page changes from gray to white, that is where the left margin is. So we're going to grab that, being careful not to grab the blue things, because that won't change the margin of the whole page for us, but rather we're going to go just above that blue thing and grab the margin. We're going to move that over until it says 1.50. So our page margin on the left is going to be 1.5 inches rather than 1 inch. The other default margins are fine all around. 1 inch on the top, 1 inch on the right. And if we scrolled down, we could see there's 1 inch here at the bottom. Okay, so that's the first thing you'll need to do on your document. And the second thing that we want to do is change all of this text to a font called Courier. Now, Courier is what's called a monospace font, meaning that the width of each letter is exactly the same. The font isn't flexible for letter width. So one of the reasons this is good, it spaces out the text quite a bit. Another reason is that it makes the page count consistent over time. So once you have your margins established, you'll get a script that moves along at the pace of about a word per minute, or at least that's the standard. So we want to look for the font Courier or Courier New. Now when you first open this, it might be down, it won't be in your recently used fonts as it is in mine, but it'll be down in the alphabetical order of your font list. So change everything to Courier and you'll have something that looks like this. So we're partway there, right? We've got a wide left-hand margin, and we've got some action that seems to be fully formatted. Oh, also, if your font is not 12 point when you have selected all of it, change it to 12 point. The default might be 11. It might be Arial 11. I can't recall. So now what we need to do is we're going to use something called paragraph styles to format our dialogue and our the names of the characters above the dialogue. So something about paragraph styles that's nice is you apply them to a given paragraph, and a paragraph is anything where there's been a return. So anything between returns is a paragraph. So this is a paragraph. This is a paragraph where I've left a space here. Each thing is a paragraph. And when I'm applying a paragraph style, I don't have to select all the text. I can just stick my cursor anywhere in that paragraph, anywhere in this paragraph. And if I apply a paragraph style, that's going to change the entire paragraph. Okay, so the your text menu up here has a styles menu, and if you click on the drop down there, you can see that there are some default headings set for the names of these various styles. Now, if you've ever used styles in Microsoft Word, then you might have noticed that there's a difference, right? You can rename any of your styles in Microsoft Word, but in Google Docs, they just give you these this set of default names for fonts, for styles, and you can't change them. However, there are more styles available than are in this drop-down menu. So I'll show you how to get to those. And what we're going to do is there are actually headings 1 through 6. We're going to use heading 5 and heading 6 to style our dialogue. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to leave these the scene header and the scene action as our normal text. And normal text is the style applied to every paragraph by default. And because we changed the style of it by making it Courier and perhaps changing the font size, we're going to go under normal text and we're going to say update normal text to match. That way, if we ever change something to normal text from another style that we've applied, then this will match it. So just click on that. And now anytime you apply this normal text to anything or scroll down on the screen and start typing, it will come out in the correct font and size. Okay, so let's style our dialogue. Okay, so here I'm going to click my cursor in this piece of dialogue, and what I want to do is I want to move the indentation of this paragraph in on both sides. So on the left, I want to grab the bottom arrow here because that's going to take both the indentation and the initial point, and I'm going to move it in 1.25 inches on the left. Okay, now you see how that affected the paragraph that I had my cursor in. I'm going to leave my cursor in that paragraph and I'm going to pull this in 1.25 inches on the right. Okay, I can measure them according to this little inch measurement here. Okay, the other thing that's important about this is to use justification. So this is left aligned and here we want justify. Okay, so we can see that this makes a nice, neat little block from left to right. Okay, so the problem now is that I've made changes to a paragraph that had the normal text style applied. So I want to apply I want to change this to a different style. So I'm going to go under Format, Paragraph Styles, and I'm going to use heading 6 for this. So heading 6, I'm going to come down here and say Update heading 6 to match. Okay, so now my heading 6 is styled like this. So I can put my cursor into that paragraph, and I can go under Format, Paragraph Styles, Apply heading 6, and it will format the same way. Now, I want to show you one other thing here that might be helpful. Format, Paragraph Styles. If I'm down here and I want to apply heading 6, it's giving me this keyboard shortcut. So it's telling me that this little command button on my Mac keyboard plus the option button plus 6 will apply heading 6 to my dialogue. So if I had several pages of dialogue, this would save me time over going up into the menu and applying it that way each time. So I'm just sticking, and of course you can't see this because you can't see my keyboard, but I'm pushing Command, Option, and 6 to apply heading 6 to my dialogue here, and I just click into it and apply 6 again. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for these paragraphs that hold the character name, except we're going to apply heading 5 to that. Okay, and it's almost exactly the same. So I've got my cursor in there. I'm going to pull this into 1.5. I'm going to pull the right one into 1.5. And then instead of hitting justify, we're going to center align. Okay, so now this paragraph, I never changed it from normal text. So I'm going to go under Format, paragraph styles, heading 5, I'm going to update heading 5 to match. Okay, now I'm going to go down through, click my cursor in each character one, Option Command 5, and that's going to give me my heading 5. Okay, and that is how you do it.